That time has come again for us to do another round of Bleach Rebirth of Souls character trailer breakdowns. In this video, I have 4 amazing character trailers to break down, as we have 1 Arrancar trailer as well as 3 Shinigami character trailers. Some of these characters in this video are highly anticipated reveals, so you're definitely going to want to stick around until the very end of the video. Bleach Rebirth of Souls is just around the corner, with the game set to release on the 21st of March 2025. We only have a few more weeks left, which means only a few more characters which have yet to be revealed. We have had 27 characters who have been revealed up until now, and we also have had confirmation that Season 1 DLC for Rebirth of Souls will include characters from the 1000 Year Blood War arc. Things are getting very exciting, so definitely stick around until the very end of the video for the latest news about Rebirth of Souls. And without further delay, let's dive into the 4 most recent character trailers which have just been revealed. We got really tired of the same old boring anime shirts, so we decided to launch Getsuga.com with the aim of creating designs inspired by our favorite anime and manga. We came up with designs that look cool and represent all of our favorite stories. Check out the latest Instinct collection, which features some amazing designs like this Frosted Heavens design inspired by Toshiro Hitsugaya, or this Instinct design inspired by Holo Ichigo, and my personal favorite, which is the Heart design, which was inspired by Ukiura Shifa. Do not miss out, go to Getsuga.com and wear your favorite stories. So the first trailer will be looking at the 8th ranking Espada Szayelaporro Grands. He is described as somebody who takes pride in being a perfect life form. Szayelaporro analyzes his opponent in order to strengthen himself and to break through any situation. So similar to other characters like Hitsugaya, Szayelaporro has his very own specific gauge. So this is a Roku Reichu gauge. This involves him planting the Roku Reijo on his opponent following a specific attack. If you recall to Szayelaporro's battle against Renji and Uryu, the Roku Reichu are in fact spirit recording bugs. Szayelaporro uses these insects and they are spread across the body of his opponent, as he is able to use them to gain information on the Bankai of Renji. The Roku Reichu allows Szayelaporro to gain information about an opponent's Reiatsu all the way down to its spirit particle composition, as he learns about his opponent's forms and abilities. He also uses these spirit recording bugs to gain information about Uryu's Quincy powers. So it's incredible that the developers have actually incorporated this concept into Szayelaporro's moveset. So it seems like the Roku Reichu are planted on the opponent following a certain attack. So as the fight progresses, the number of Roku Reichu required to increase the spiritual pressure analysis level gauge with the signature move and spiritual pressure move 2 will decrease. The spiritual pressure understanding level will increase by collecting the planted Roku Reichu with signature move or spiritual pressure move 2. So as this spiritual pressure understanding level increases, Szayelaporro will earn specific benefits like decreasing the damage you receive when you get hit, as well as increasing the probability of dealing out larger damage by your Kikon move, as well as the possibility of Szayelaporro reviving when all of his Konpaku have run out. So Szayelaporro's first ability in his moveset is Signature Move, which is Retrieve Roku Reichu. This involves him grabbing the opponent at a close distance and retrieving the Roku Reichu that has been planted in the opponent. The number of Roku Reichu that have been retrieved will increase the analysis progress stage, as well as the spiritual pressure understanding level. With these 2 stats improving, it will increase Szayelaporro's performance in battle. So you can see in the examples here as he rips the Roku Reichu away from Mayuri. Szayelaporro's spiritual pressure move 1 is called I Need Your Corpse Intact. This is a counter attack which moves to the opponent's back by activating the Arrancar's Sonido, and along with inflicting damage, Szayelaporro will plant a Roku Reichu into the opponent. So you can see in this example, Szayelaporro uses Sonido to appear behind Mayuri, he plants the Roku Reichu and then lands a follow-up attack. We then have Szayelaporro's Awakening, which of course is his Resurrection. So Szayelaporro's performance is enhanced by releasing his Zanpakuto La Luriosa with Resurrection. So the number of Konpaku that Szayelaporro can remove via his Kikon move will vary depending on the probability, and the higher the spiritual pressure analysis level that he has, the more possibility that he has to deal out higher damage. Also, Szayelaporro can revive 3 Konpaku when his Konpaku run out. But again, it relies heavily on utilizing that Roku Reichu mechanic so that the spiritual pressure analysis level can be increased to as high as possible. So you can see Szayelaporro in his awakened state with his resurrection, as he even is able to summon a hollow to assist him. And yeah, that's the character trailer for Szayelaporro. It's a very short and sweet trailer. We also see glimpses here of Szayelaporro using his puppet theater technique where he breaks the organs of his opponent. So Szayelaporro's character is described as being tricky, along with him having a unique set of rules for his gameplay. I do have the stat sheet for Szayelaporro, so let's go over all of his different stats. So his lowest stat by far is his attack strength, which is only 1 out of 5 points. Then his next lowest stat is his durability, which is only 2 out of 5 points. And then his highest stat points are his speed and his reach, which are both balanced out at 3 out of 5 points. And his most strongest stat point is definitely his technique special skills, which are 5 out of 5. As we have seen, Szayelaporro's character relies heavily on those Roku Reichu, and for you to understand how those mechanics work, which are key to playing as this character, and it's for this reason that his ease of use is ranked at 2 out of 5 stars. Next, we have the character trailer of Shunsui Kommaura, who is a character that a lot of fans have been waiting to see revealed. So we see his dual-bladed Shikai Katen Kyokotsu, as he's described as being the captain of the 8th Division, who is capable of dominating the battlefield and confusing his opponents with his unique moves and his dual-bladed Zanpakuto. Shunsui's first ability, which has been showcased, is called Mizukiri. This is where he spins his body and attacks with both of his Zanpakuto, and the number of attacks increases by holding the input for a long time, allowing the attack to accumulate more damage power. So you can see there are 2 examples of this attack, one where he quickly does it without holding much input, and one where he holds the input and attacks for a long period of time. We then have spiritual pressure move 1 called Bushogoma, and this is an attack which sends wind pressure towards the opponent. So because Shunsui doesn't have that many long range attacks, this kind of compensates for it, and it is possible for Shunsui to attack at the same time as this wind pressure that's being sent towards the opponent. So in the example, you can see Shunsui charges up his spiritual pressure and sends the gust of wind towards the opponent from a long range. His next ability is Spiritual Pressure Move 2 called No Need to Panic. Shunsui instantly moves to the front of the opponent and then rushes towards them with 2 swords. This allows the player to close the gap and thus inflict damage instantly against the opponent, as this makes it really easy to take advantage of opportunities where there is an opening against the opponent. In the example, you see Shunsui appearing in front of the opponent, crashing down against them, and then unleashing a barrage of attacks which overwhelms them. And the attack ends with Shunsui swinging both of his swords, pushing the opponent back. We then have Shunsui's Awakening, which is activated, and this is focused on his Shikai Katen Kyokotsu, which allows him to transform children's games into reality. So when he unleashes his Shikai, a children's game begins where players compete against each other according to some specific rules. Depending on whether if the player wins or loses the children's game, there will be various buffs and debuffs that will be activated. And there you have Shunsui's character trailer. He looks like an incredibly strong offensive character, and his abilities have been excellently translated from the manga. So as you can see, he's a really strong close range fighter, and he forces his opponents into children's games. So let's go over the stat sheet for Shunsui. So his lowest stat is his reach, which is why he has that spiritual pressure move where he fires off that gust of wind which allows him to attack opponents who are far away. So his reach is at 2 points out of 5. Then his most balanced stats, which are 3 out of 5, are his power and his speed. And coming in joint as his most strongest stat points are his durability as well as his special skills, as they are both 4 points out of 5. And in general, Shunsui has been ranked to be 3 out of 5 stars for ease of use. He is definitely a welcomed addition to the roster. After head captain Yamamoto, I really wanted to see Shunsui in the game. So yeah, it's amazing that the future head captain of the Gotei 13 has also made an appearance within Rebirth of Souls. Next, we have the character trailer for the captain of the 7th Division, Shunsui Kommaura. His strength allows his attacks to inflict heavy damage as well as cover a wide range on the battlefield. So we start off with Komamura's signature move, which is titled Activate Tenken. Most of Komamura's moveset, when he hasn't activated his Bankai, relies upon Tenken, which is Heavenly Punishment. So in Rebirth of Souls, the first time that the signature move is activated, it prepares his Tenken, and when the second time it's activated, a huge sword is thrust forward by Tenken. This attacks a wide area, and the attack can even reach opponents who are at a distance. So we see two examples of the signature move where his attack rains down on the opponent and reaches them. Then there is Spiritual Pressure move 1 called Divine Punishment, and this summons the arm of Kokujo Tengen Myo as it rushes forward and sweeps a wide area in front of Komamura. Even if an opponent is attacking in the middle of the move, it is possible to ignore their attack and thus attack forcefully against them. So you can see the example, Komamura summons the arm and just swats the opponent away. And again, it's really hard to avoid that attack. Then there is Spiritual Pressure move 2 called Imperial Authority, so Kokujo Tengen Myo's huge sword is swung down and it nullifies an opponent's guard and it inflicts heavy damage too. It has a long attack range and strong destructive power which is able to easily break through an opponent's guard. So in the example, you can see Komamura swings his sword down and a giant sword appears, attacking the opponent at point blank range. This looks like an incredibly overpowered ability from Komamura, and it seems like all of his abilities are really strong and there must be some way that he's been nerfed, and we're about to get to that with his awakening. Komamura's awakening is of course his Bankai Kokujo Tengen Myo. By releasing it, his attack range and power is greatly enhanced. Komamura gains immense power which overwhelms his opponents, but his Bankai is cancelled when his Reishi is depleted or after a certain amount of time has passed. This needs to be said because otherwise Komamura would be able to be in his Bankai form indefinitely. After his Bankai is cancelled, actions using Tenken as well as his signature move will no longer be available. So it's going to be difficult for Komamura to attack his opponents from a distance. So yeah, this is a great way to incorporate Komamura's unique Zanpakuto abilities while also nerfing him. Because as you know, within the manga, Komamura's Bankai's biggest weakness is that his giant avatar is a walking target for his opponents, thus making Kokujo Tengen Myo one of the weaker Bankais in Bleach. So yeah, that's the amazing character trailer for Komamura. I think that the developers have done an incredible job of translating his moveset over into the game. So yeah, it's stated that he has tremendous destructive power as well as range from his Bankai and his Tenken abilities. So it comes as no surprise when we turn our attention towards his stat sheet. His speed and mobility is his lowest stat, which is at 1 out of 5 points. So in terms of Komamura's stats, his weakest stat is his speed, which is ranked at 1 point out of 5. His next lowest stat is his technique and special skills, which is 2 points out of 5. Then his strengths lie in his reach, as we've seen with all of his abilities. Some of his attacks, especially when Tenken is activated, are nearly impossible to avoid, so his reach is 3 out of 5 points. His power and attack strength is very strong with 4 points out of 5, and his most highest stat, which is 5 out of 5, is his durability. And in terms of overall ease of use, Komamura is 4 stars out of 5. So it seems like Komamura is the perfect choice for button bashers, for individuals who want to have somebody who packs a solid punch, with Komamura not really relying on any special abilities. But you do have to be careful, after the deactivation of Komamura's Bankai, then a large part of his moveset which makes him so effective ends up being nullified. Now we're moving on to the most recent character trailer which has just been revealed, and this is of the Lieutenant of Squad 9, Shuhei Hisagi. So he's described as being somebody who excels in all of Zankensoki, which is swordsmanship techniques. And Hisagi is the type of individual who becomes stronger by accepting his fears. This theme of fear is closely linked to Hisagi's character, as he fears the power that his Zanpakuto possesses, because to him, having this fear of power is a sign of respect for the battlefield. So his entire philosophy and the fear that he has of his own power has been taught to him by his former captain Kaname Tozen. Like his captain, he too follows the path with the least bloodshed. While Hisagi battles, he does appear to get lost in the thrill of the fight as he begins to steadily instill fear into his opponents. So it's for this reason that Hisagi has been given a fear accumulation gauge in this game. Hisagi's fear will be accumulated by the destruction of the Konbaku or being in the awakened state. So the more fear that he accumulates, he will be able to deal more damage against his opponents, as well as the performance of some of his abilities will be changed too. So we're starting off strong with Spiritual Pressure move 1 having 3 variants. The first is Hado 31 Shakaho, the second is Hado 33 Sokatsui, and the third variation is Hado 54 Heian. So depending on the amount of fear that Hisagi has accumulated, Kido that Hisagi will fire changes from Shakaho to Sokatsui to Hien. So apparently the performance of his abilities will increase according to the change in the Hado technique. So as you can see, the strength of Hado abilities is numbered in ascending order, with Hado 54 being the strongest attack which Hisagi can do through his Spiritual Pressure move 1. So in the examples you can see Hisagi doing Shakaho, Sokatsui as well as Hien. And these attacks work perfectly against opponents who are at a distance away from you. His next ability is called Spiritual Pressure Move 2, a Warrior's Poise. So you can see Hisagi has taken a stance as Tozen charges towards him. He counters, appears behind him and slashes Tozen. And then you can see there's a lightning Kido based attack called Suzuri Raiden which appears as a follow-up attack, as it deals a great deal of damage pushing the opponent away. So then we have Hisagi's Awakening, and this is the Shikai of his Zanpakuto Kazeshini. So by activating the Shikai, Hisagi's moveset is altered, as the ability he uses in his flash attack will be changed, as well as Hisagi gaining the means of a mid-range attack now. While in his Shikai, Hisagi doesn't have a great deal of a performance increase, but he will be at his most strongest when his accumulated fear has been built up considerably. So think of him having two buffs, one from his Shikai and then one from his accumulated fear gauge. So yeah, his Awakening looks absolutely incredible with his Reiatsu there, as he uses his Zanpakuto to pull his opponents in closer and then launch these devastating attacks. And there you have it, that's the character trailer for Hisagi. He is somebody who is overall easy to control with his actions, and he is particularly effective against characters who fire projectiles towards him. So this is against opponents who maintain a distance or fire long-range attacks. Hisagi with his abilities is able to easily draw them in closer and force them into a close-range combat situation. Since Hisagi's character trailer has just been revealed, unfortunately I don't have a stat sheet for him just yet, but yeah, that was the 4 character trailers for the newly revealed Rebirth of Souls characters. That was Szayelaporro, Shunsui, Komamura and Hisagi. My favorite character trailer out of all of these that I reviewed is definitely Shunsui's. I love the close range fighters and I cannot wait to see how his Shikai is going to be implemented. Let me know your thoughts for the future characters that are going to be revealed. I'm assuming that we may just get 3 to 4 more character trailers before the release of the game on the 21st of March. Also, I'd love to know your speculation as to which 1000 Year Blood War characters will be included in the Season 1 DLC. Each of the characters within Bleach Rebirth of Souls has a very unique moveset, which makes it really fun to speculate on some of the matchups that we're going to see. Each of the characters have their very specific strengths and weaknesses, and there's a wide variety of movesets and characters to choose from, which makes me believe that Rebirth of Souls could possibly be one of the best anime arena fighters ever. I'd love to know all of your thoughts about these recent 4 character trailers, so continue the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thank you for making it to the end of this video, and I cannot wait to see you in my next Bleach Rebirth of Souls update video.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more. Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.